Hi everyone, and welcome to Daily Revelations. It's a weekly Bible study where we go through one book of the Bible at a time. And right now we are in the book of James, and this is the last week of our study. We're in James 5 this week. So James only has 5 chapters, but don't worry, we're going to keep going. The next book that we're going to be working on is First John, and that'll finish us up through this year. And so if you want to download the rest of the planner for this year, that's fine. I should, by the end of the week, have the planner for January, February, and March out, and I'll let you know when that's available. So, James 5. This is a very meaty chapter, and today we use a precept method like we do every day. We read through the chapter, we use this precept method, and then we ask the Holy Spirit, what do you got to show me today? What do I need to hear? And God is so good. He shows us something if we are diligent and we just stick with it. And this morning, I have to tell you, sometimes you just read through this and you're like overwhelmed. There's so much there. But that still small voice of God just kind of gets at you and says, yeah, there's a lot here. We'll work on that later this week or in times to come. But this is what I need you to focus on today. And so that's what God does. And so I encourage you, you need to do the same thing. This is what God gave me this morning, and I'm just going to share that with you as an encouragement that God always has something new, whether you've read this book hundreds of times or never before. So in reading through this chapter, the first verse that popped out at me, well, it was a set of verses. Verses 7 through 11 really kind of go together, and they talk about patience. Oh, you love that word, don't you? Patience, endurance, and suffering. Not something we all want to welcome into our lives. And I know most people, because I run an organization that helps parents homeschool, lots of people, that's their first excuse. I can't homeschool, I'm not patient. Well, guess what? I was not patient when I started 19 years ago either. But I became patient because I endured. And because I trusted that God had something better. And that's what this is all about, is this diet of faith. And can we stick it out for the long run? Diets are not fun, let me tell you. This year has been involved in, I've had more dietary things and changed than probably ever in my entire life. After being diagnosed with cancer in April, I went to a vegan diet. I have to tell you, the first night after my doctor told me I needed to do that, I sat in the bathtub and cried because my first love is cheese, and that had to come out of my life. I am going to be working on how to make vegan cheese, and it'll be a work in progress. But just know that sometimes it requires us to get rid of a lot of things. Another thing that my doctor said I needed to do was intermittent fast. Great. Not only can I not eat my own foods, but that I love the most, but I also have to stop eating. And already at that point, I weighed 117 pounds. Now I weigh 104. But it's taken care of a lot of issues that were underneath. And to suffer, endure through is what I needed. And I thought about that, is that, the intermittent fasting, the vegan eating, all of that required adjustments. And it required me to be hungry. And it required me to even live with carnivores in my home and endure being within my own Babylon and having to make food for them that I couldn't even eat. And I've come to a peace with that. And I think that that's exactly what God does with our faith, is he says, you know what? This is for your better. It may not be fun. You may not like what I'm asking you to do. It may require suffering, and it will require endurance, and you just need to be patient. The results of what I'm doing in and through your life are going to be better than what you think. And I wrote down too, as I was reading through verses 7 through 11, it's testing. It's testing our faith as we endure. God does this, and yet, will I let God's will be done? Or will I say, you know what, this sounds really good, but not for me? And in the end, when we do that, if we say it out loud, it's, I can do better than God. And the outcome from my doings is going to be much more secure. Now, when I say that out loud, and I even wrote this, when you say that out loud, it sounds crazy. Because here is the maker of the universe telling us, this is what you need to do. I made you. I know you. And here's me saying, nah, I got it covered. That's not how it works the best. And so it is that testing of faith that gets us from being fattened in this world. And that's, if we go back to the verses before this, in verse 3 it says that whatever we use to build up our fatness, our riches in this world, will be used against us to burn us on the day of judgment. Wow. And then later on, it says in verse 5 that you fatten your heart here. It's not going to make you ready for heaven. It's just going to set you up for the day of slaughter. I don't like that. So I'll be happy eating vegetables if that's what God says I need to eat. And I'll be content, even more so than happy. And I'll be thankful. I tell you, when I sit down to a meal now and I see this plate full of vegetables, I am so thankful that I have something I can eat. And that God is using that to heal me. And so whatever God is working in and through your life, just know that whatever He's taking out, whatever He's calling you to fast from, whatever He is calling you to dump out of your diet and to trust Him on, that it will be good. You know, the results I've seen is my health has increased greatly. My blood pressure has gone down. I've lost all of the inflammation that I didn't think I ever had. And I have just more energy. And so those things are results here. But what God said to, what James was talking about in verses 7 through 11 is, sometimes you're not going to see the results here, just like the prophets of old. But they will be realized in the next life. And so keep on enduring. God's mercy and His compassion, just like He gave Job, this is what James talks about too in these verses, will be yours, whether it comes now or later. And we just have to trust that that's the God we serve and that He is faithful and He does not change. Just like He treated Job, He'll treat us the same as we are faithful and trust in Him through whatever circumstances we have going on in our life. And it does discipline us, but it's good discipline. We need it. Definitely. I need it. And it was a good reminder for me today. Just keep moving on. So, hope you have an awesome day. We'll keep on with this study in James 5 tomorrow. We're going to hit day 2 then. So, I'll see you then. But thank you all for joining me today on Daily Revelations. Bye, everyone.